Would you go?
And
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of A Pod With No Name. With me, as usual, my co-host Tom and Brian. What's up, guys?
Jesus God, man. Every week we wait on this kid to start the show.
I was waiting for like we've done every week the past 3 weeks.
well, we have a special guest that's a little more awkward than Dylan, believe it or not, and that is the guy's going to lose this week for the first time this season. Kyle Brandt. Hello, Kyle.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
Hey, isn't it you two playing this week?
I think
That's why I wanted him to introduce him.
Okay.
Oh.
So we'll get right into it then.
Because you know what it is? It's rivalry week.
It is
Yeah.
rivalry week.
Rivalry.
So we'll get right into it then. I'll stop touching Tom. I'll start speaking properly, but
We're off to a hot start.
So
This is the greatest start in history.
first will be Kyle versus myself, and I like my lineup.
Surprise, surprise.
All my stars are either hurt or on the bench. Dalvin Cook going down really killed me, but I believe in these matchups. Zach Ertz and Baldwin always get it done. Collins and Jones now are the lead backs. It's looking good for me. The reason I think I'm going to win is I look at Kyle's team, and Adams is questionable. I don't think he's going to play. Procise is doubtful as well. Witten's not going to get it done against Green Bay, and I'm projecting Kyle to score the least amount of points so far this season, under 70 points this year. So
It's funny considering the projections show you losing. So
that is true. That is
Do
true.
you actually think you're going to win, or are you just saying that because you want to win so bad?
I think
Historically,
Brisket.
he has beaten me.
I think Brisket
I have not
here.
beaten him once.
Brisket here. Yeah, that is true. He's not
I almost
beating
beat him when I had Calvin Johnson, and they took him out the last drive of the game. And all I had to do was throw like a 10-yard pass to him. I lost him.
that sounds really familiar,
Yeah,
doesn't it?
I like that. I love those. Are my favorite.
Aaron Rodgers loves Jones right now, and I think he's going to utilize him very well. Collins is looking good, and Terrence West is barely touching the ball. I think he's going to get it against a bad Oakland. And then Brisket is going to do really well against San Francisco, in my opinion. So I like Philadelphia. They have the best pass rushing defense against Arizona with Carson Palmer, who gets sacked more than anybody. So I feel like I think I'm going to get this one.
Both of your teams are pretty much injury ridden.
Yeah.
Procise in there, that's not looking very good. And then Adams, he almost died last week.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of good running back pickups. I picked up Allison, who would play in replacement of Adams if Adams doesn't play, and Adams is listed as questionable. But again, they can play a spread offense, or they can go to one receiver the whole game.
Yeah.
The lack of a running back, they still have Aaron Rodgers, so I'm not sure what they want to do. But as of right now, Adams is still listed as questionable. Don't know if he's going to play. If he doesn't, I'll have to plug in Allison. There really wasn't a lot of good waiver wire pickups for running back. I know I've been playing Seattle's backfield, which actually planned out pretty well until Carson decided to get into it last week. So obviously kind of playing that right now between Procise, who's obviously out, and then Thomas Rawls is undetermined when he's going to come back and if he's going to play, if he's even going to be consistent. Because when you have Russell Wilson and a mobile quarterback, you can scramble across the
Yeah, I
board.
thought you were going to try to get on the waiver and get Eddie Lacy, but you didn't. So I thought that would have been. They're going up against the Rams, who are not that solid of a run stopping team, and I felt like Eddie Lacy would probably put one in the end zone.
Yeah.
So that would have been helpful. But
Yeah, Jason Witten hasn't performed up to where he should. Maybe it's because of his age. I don't know. AJ Green has had a hell of a season so far. I had to pick up Alex Smith, who actually did 24 points last week.
He's the second
I've got
highest scoring quarterback right now.
Yeah, I've got Drew Brees on a bye. Willie Snead was on a bye, even though he didn't play last week, and he's back from suspension. And then I've got my kicker for the Redskins, who's on a bye. He's been doing pretty well at 8 points a game. So, I don't know. It's going to go one of two ways. I don't think I'm going to win, but I can't say never, only because I'm 4-0. And
you're going to be
expect to do it.
4-1, and we will transition to the next guy that will be 4-1. I think Chad is going to win over Josh. The big fat O by Dwayne Allen. It killed you. Novak Fultz didn't get you much. Then you go to Andre Ellington. Yeah, he had, I think, 10 targets last week, but I don't know if they can keep that pace with this defense coming at him and the Eagles. Mixon hasn't showed much. I believe he will do better this week, but I don't think he can carry this team. Cooper Kupp, you don't know if he's going to be the one receiver. They spread the ball, and 1 week he might get a touchdown, 6 catches. The next week, 1 catch for 17 yards. Garcon's going to be shadowed by Vontae Davis. I think Wilson will go off, but I just don't think it'll be enough against this Aaron Rodgers, Nelson, and Kareem Hunt team. On top of it, you've already have 3 guys with 15 points, Chad. So it's going to be a rough one for Josh Sturm to come back.
All so close together, too.
Auto draft, Chad wins it all again.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
3 straight titles. We're blowing the league up after that.
Yeah.
Might as well bring back James Jesse.
Might as well, yeah. So I think this is a good time, since we're talking about the matchup, to talk about what happened this week in reference to this game. So, for those of you that are out of the loop, probably all the people that aren't going to watch this or listen and watch.
You can watch.
You can watch the.
It says nothing.
Yeah, you can watch the logo on the screens for an hour. It's not going to change until soon. But here's basically what happened. So, waiver wire, busy time every week. It goes through on Wednesdays. Cameron Brate, tight end for the Bucks, was claimed by Chad. Okay, and Chad subsequently dropped him the same day.
4 hours later.
4 hours later. So this is by no means trying to indict Chad on some kind of like really shady but brilliant move. Because I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
If you break the rules, you break the rules. There's nothing against you. That's not really breaking the rules.
But it's funny because Josh won't actually know the actual decision until after we record this because I haven't told him. But so here's what happened. Josh had Gronk obviously not playing, needed to pick up a tight end, so it came down to Tampa with OJ or Brate, and then Dwayne Allen for the Pats. Ended up with Dwayne Allen. We saw how that panned out. Dropped a goose egg. But to give you kind of a background on the settings for the league, so Yahoo's waiver settings in our league, as soon as a player's dropped, they go into waiver for 1 day, 24 hours. That is assuming that player isn't added and dropped in the same day. So in this case, Cameron Brate, since he was dropped in the same day, he should have went to free agency just by their settings, but he did not. He ended up on waivers. So we're sitting in a situation where Gronk was ruled out. Josh needs a tight end. Brate should have been available as a free agent for him to pick up as of 8:09 Wednesday or Thursday morning, because he was dropped at 8:09 a.m. on the 4th, which was Wednesday. So just a few hours after he was picked up. So he should have been available. The question came up if we were going to be able to allow Josh to pick him up because of an error on Yahoo's end. But after reviewing the documents in hand, all the text messages that you guys have read, Kyle, you haven't seen them, but basically there's no explicit intent that was indicated by Josh to specifically go out and pick up Brate. There was no inconclusive evidence stating that he would have picked up Brate, even though we all assumed he would.
I think he would have.
He would have. That's where it leaves us in a bad spot, because we know he would have. He would have picked up Brate. He was obviously the number one choice to fill that spot. He goes off. Well, not really goes off, but he gets 17, which makes this a totally different matchup, at least more in favor of Josh hanging on. But I think, unfortunately, just given the amount of evidence, it's hard to go ahead and add him to the team. So I think that everything's just going to have to stand.
Yeah.
It's
because someone else, like if, say, Kyle's win doesn't go up, you could say the same thing.
Yeah.
It did look like Josh was wanting possibly Brate, but like you said, he never brought it up.
Yeah.
What we saw.
Yeah, so, and I even brought in a third party. Well, it would be like a fifth party, because I asked 4 people in the league, but I also asked somebody in another league outside of the creek, outside of everything, who has no connection to the league whatsoever, and that was his opinion as well. His quote was, if Dwayne Allen had scored 3 touchdowns, this wouldn't be an issue.
Yeah.
Because, it wouldn't matter.
But to say that someone else wasn't targeting Brate before Gronk was ruled out.
Yeah, and Jordan had expressed that he was interested in Brate too.
Yeah, I might have picked him up for trade bait.
Yeah, but you said the same thing. But when it all boils down, basically, it's tough the way that it happened. But if that instance ever comes up again where somebody's ad dropped, which is really weird because Marlon Mack and OJ Howard both were ad dropped in the same day, on the exact same day as Brate, but went straight to free agency. But for whatever reason, Brate didn't.
Yeah, I picked up Mack.
So in the future, if there's a guy that you're wanting to pick off waiver wires and you think he should be a free agent, but he's not, let somebody know before the game. That way we can actually make it happen beforehand. Mm-hmm. It's an unfortunate set of circumstances, but I guess it is what it is in this particular case.
Yeah. Speaking of unfortunate set of circumstances, we're going to move on to Devin.
That was an excellent transition.
I believe this week that Devin's going to get his first win. I like Dak Prescott this week with Dez Bryant, possibly 2 touchdowns for Dez against this Green Bay. Their pass defense is not that great. Cobb could do good as well. Landry with that Miami offense is not doing much. Roethlisberger at home, he might put up numbers quick, but I think it's going to be the Le'Veon Bell show against this Jacksonville defense, especially because the pass defense for the Jags is what they hold their heads high on. Lamar Miller, he was excellent last week, but can he do it again against Kansas City? I'm not sure. Frank Gore, I think, and Carlos Hyde both will go off against each other. It's just a matter of who gets up first and who's trying to run the clock out. I think it's going to be Carlos Hyde and the 49ers winning this week. Jai against Tennessee, they looked bad last week, but Jai's looked awful as well. Well, it's more so the Miami offense. He's looked okay. But Mike Evans getting 9, that was the main thing for me. He needed to carry this team for Ryan to get a win. So I'm definitely picking Devin this week to take it home.
Don't rule out Jarvis Landry.
Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
He's going up against a secondary that is allowing 44 PPR points per week to wide receivers.
Yeah, it is. It's hard to that Miami because the first week he had 13 catches or 10 out of 13 targets, but then nothing happened the next game, and Devontae Parker had 8 catches the very last 90 seconds.
Yeah, that's all of his points coming last.
So it's hard to say with Jay Cutler. He has 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. They're not doing much.
I'm sure they're regretting Jay Cutler.
Well, they're still sticking with it. They're not switching yet. That's what the coach said.
Well, they were put in a really bad spot with Tannehill still being hurt, which never should have been the case in the first place. They should have just went in. I know hindsight's 20/20, but they should have just went in, cleaned the ACL up. I don't know, pick up some random dude off the street rather than Jay Cutler, who you're not paying $10 million to, and just eat the season, get a draft pick. I don't know.
Yeah, with Tannehill in there, that would definitely be a more consistent offense.
Yeah, but if Cutler goes out and throws for 303 tutties, then it's not going to matter.
The next one's going to be Josh Jones, Juicy, versus Dylan.
Matchup of the week.
I love Eli Manning this week. I think he's going to go absolutely off. Elliott, he's looking better. He's getting a lot of touches, and he's producing, but it's because he's getting so many touches. He's not looking like he did last year. We talked about it with the gut and everything.
Yeah, he needs to lay off the carbs.
He looks slower. So hopefully they get together, but I think they're going to get it done through the air. He could find the end zone because that's what that offensive line will just give it to him possibly. Tony Brown's going to get it done like always, even though against a hard matchup this week. James White looked good. Brandon Cooks looked good. Jimmy Graham, you never know what you're going to get. This pass defense is pretty bad right now, but I don't believe in Jimmy Graham. Smallwood, I'm pretty sure is out, so you should probably put in maybe Derrick Henry. That's what I'm telling you to do.
I don't think so.
Well, because smash him up. They're going to run
you
all
should
over
leave him in, actually.
Yeah.
He's healthy. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, Smallwood's fine.
When I go to Dylan's side, Smallwood, keep him in. But I like Watson pickup. I thought about it. He has a good baseline because of his running abilities. Even if he's not playing well, he's going to pick up 30, 40, 50 yards minimum. So you have a nice baseline there. Arizona, Patrick Peterson against Jeffrey. It's going to be a hard one.
Yeah, I'm not too hot about it.
Yeah.
But I don't have any other.
Jeffrey can always get that one play, but I don't see him getting a lot of catches this game. We'll see what happens. Le'Veon Bell, I think, is going to do really well. They're going to score quick, and they're going to run the clock, run them Jacksonville into the ground. That offsets Fournette's ceiling this week, but I still think he kind of maybe borderline 10, 12 points. Charles Clay, I love him as a top 5 tight end. He's looking good, and there's really no other option right now, especially with Jordan Matthews going down. You have Kelvin Benjamin against Detroit. If he's healthy, he always has a chance to get in the end zone. They looked really good last week. I I like that over Cohen. We talked before, but I'll get into it in the next matchup about what I think of the Bears, Minnesota.
Yeah, Dylan's not listening to his best friends. He's listening to some idiot on Twitter.
Probably.
Dude, I'm thinking really hard about that. I've been looking into it a lot the past 2 days, trying to figure out what I'd rather do. But Kelvin's the top target there right now with Olsen being out. He's the wide receiver 1, and Cohen, he's been losing snaps the past couple of weeks to Jordan Howard since he had his breakout game against the Steelers.
And with Trubisky come back, you don't know what's
who knows if he's going to target him or not. I don't know.
The only thing reliable right now in that offense would be Jordan Howard, in my opinion, which I'll talk about. But I think
just feel safer with Kelvin, so I'm going to leave him in there.
Yeah, I did too. We talked, and I just have a bad feeling about Cohen this week. So this is going to be one of the closer matchups. I slightly give the edge, especially if Smallwood stays in. I'm sure you'll get him out since he's not going to be playing. You will pay attention to your roster.
Or will he?
Yeah, and Jacksonville's defense isn't going to do much. Detroit's defense has been phenomenal. You have Kelvin Benjamin in that could kind of mess with your scoring, but
Antonio Brown.
Yeah,
Antonio Jacksonville. Yeah. So
there's a lot. There's a lot riding on that game.
Yeah. So this is going to be the closest one with the lineups you guys have. It's hard to pick a winner. My head would tell me Dylan, but my heart's telling me Josh. So I'm going to just leave it at that. And we're going to go to the match of the week in my eyes. The winner of this will be getting to the playoffs. Actually, no. We missed one. We're going to talk about Jordan and Dan real quick. The winner of this will be out of the playoffs as of now, the rankings. They'll be... Oh, no, Jordan's 3-1. Okay.
Look at that projection, dude.
I'm high. That is some close projection.
Oh, my God. 0.02.
Does that have a ring to it?
This is the one matchup. This is the one matchup I didn't really look into. But Hopkins, I like this week. The Chiefs' defense, they don't really shadow anybody. And if they can put Hopkins, move him around a lot, and get him in the right matchups, I think he's going to do well. That's probably why he's projected for such 21 points. Diggs is going to look phenomenal. He has been looking really good this year. Matthew Stafford might fight through the knee pain, he said, get in this week. Either way, I see Diggs doing well. I never thought I would say this, but I really like Crowell and Duke Johnson this week. 2 Cleveland Browns in the same lineup, and I like it.
Duke Johnson's been killing it.
He's the number one target right now from both sides, the Jets and Cleveland in this game. Crowell, I think, is going to return his value, at least for this game this week. So just those 4 alone. Brady scored less, but with those 4 alone, I think they're going to go off and do well. Evan Engram, he looks solid. He can find the end zone. The Chargers are not doing very well this year. They're 0-4, obviously. So are the Giants, but I think they're a better team. Bryant, Jacksonville's got a good defense, but they're playing at home, and he's a different beast, different animal when they're at home. So I could see him find the end zone, having a couple catches for 80, 90, 100 yards. Derek Carr's out, so Oakland is probably not going to put up much. They don't run Lynch the ball, give him the ball that often. They should probably this week, but we'll see. Rivers against the Giants, he has the volume there. It could happen. He could find Keenan Allen a couple times and give you what you need. Tyreek Hill, it's a tough matchup, but I think he's gonna do well, better than he has the last few weeks. Probably 15, 20 points in my opinion. Melvin Gordon's been fighting the knee injury, but again, Giants defense is not looking that great. The run defense is not performing like we thought coming into the season. Murray against Miami, they've been bad, and I think the Titans are just going to run all over them. My favorite pick is Austin Seferian-Jenkins, picking him up. He's the number one target in my eyes on the Jets. McCown loves his tight ends. Gary Barnage in the past, I think he's looking good this year. That's the matchup. McCown and Jenkins this week, my favorite quarterback tight end matchup or combination. And Fitz against his bad Philadelphia pass defense, I think he's going to do well. Looking at this would be actually the hardest one for me to take. And I mean, it shows 14-34 and 14-36 for scoring, 50-50 chance. I'm just going to go with Dan here. I think he's going to get it done just very slightly. And then we're going to move on to the matchup of the week. possibly moving into the playoffs. Tom and Chris with this one. They're both shy, I think 6th and 7th seed. I believe 7th, 8th seed.
7th and 8th.
So, Macklin, you can't trust that Ravens offense. They might be looking better, and Oakland's not known for their defense. They're not going to be holding on to the ball because Derek Carr's out. Parker, you never know what you're going to get. I think he's going to do well, but I'm just going to leave it at that. Ty Montgomery is looking doubtful, but I think McCoy and the Howard combination will make up for running backs. Howard is average, or the last 2 games he's had with the Vikings, I think he's had almost 350 yards total. And scored a touchdown, 290, I believe, on the ground.
Who would be your replacement if Montgomery's out?
I think
Howard.
Kyle's going to be my starting running back. Actually,
you got some good options there. Funches looked good last week.
Oh, yeah.
Hearns with Marquise Lee out, he might be in target a little more. And Blunt looked good last week. So
Chris Johnson.
But
it is Chris Johnson.
Of course.
I would not recommend Chris Johnson or Emerson Crowder, but you know,
if Smallwood's out, Blunt could be a good play.
I like Jordan Howard this week, but that makes me not like Minnesota. If they can keep him out of the end zone, I don't know. I like the Bears this week over Minnesota. Them losing Cook really killed them. It's going to be a hard week to bounce back. Palmer is one of the best matchups this week, in my opinion. He's on pace for over 5,000 yards. And he's going up against the Eagles' secondary. It's going to be a good day. Odell Beckham's supposedly healthy. His finger's not getting in any trouble, he says, or his ankle. So I can see him going off, but I can also see him having a quiet day. T.Y. Hilton, same thing. Against 49ers, he's been doing well against bad teams. They're looking much improved. I can see him quiet day just like Odell, or going absolutely bonkers. So McCaffrey's terrible. He's on an awful team, so leave it at that. But Powell and McCaffrey have decent matchups. Detroit's looking good this year, but I think they're going to find a way to get McCaffrey the ball. Powell with Forte out is going to get the ball, and it's going to be a good game. I like Powell this week as well. Walker's my top 3 tight end this week. I think he's going to have a great game. Crabtree's had 2 catches, I believe, or 1 maybe the last 2 games.
Yeah, he's going to fall off.
He's going to absolutely fall off, so I would suggest getting him out of there. But Gostkowski got you 15 points, so just act like if Crabtree can get 4 for you.
Yeah.
I think that combo is good. And Seattle's going up against one of the best offensive, maybe the number 1 right now in total yards.
Yeah, in terms of scoring, they're the number 1 offense.
I feel Seattle's going to have a good week. They always have a rough time. I've seen games 3-3 until the last little bit when the Rams and Seattle face off, but I think the defense is going to get it done, and it's a tough one. If Odell and T.Y. go off, I see Chris winning, but I'm more believing in this McCoy and Howard duo here. Jameson Winston got you some good points. I think Tom's going to nudge us out. It's just a gut feeling, but I think he's going to win this one.
I will see about that. At least somebody's confident in my team.
I've always got
you think Macklin's going to play? Even if he can play, you're going to leave him in there.
I'm gonna leave this lineup as it's right here.
Yeah. All right, it's a bold move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even bring up Kelsey. I think he'll show up as well. This Houston defense is going to get.
He's on a pattern. I've noticed.
Yeah.
Where it'll be
That
1 point,
last
20
one too,
points, 1
the
point,
Texans
20
and the
points.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
That could be a possible playoff preview.
Yeah.
So that game could be extremely exciting. So.
For the wild card, because the division, we all know who's winning that division.
Oh yeah,
It's true.
The Jags.
yeah. Not this week. So
Good times.
I think that's we're going to transition on to.
It's time for the Dukies of the week. I think it's time for the Dukies of the week.
We'll start with Kyle Brandt.
Yep. Kyle, you got a lucky one on here. I'm going to ask you about him too. I have a interesting question. What's going on with Jason Witten?
Absolutely no clue.
Weeks 1 and 2, he had 15 points plus, and in the past 2 weeks, he's scored under 5 points combined. And including this week, he had 1 reception for 9 yards. I don't
and
know.
He was targeted less from the week prior. Absolutely no clue. There was something that I think it was on ESPN a couple days ago. They were talking about Witten's production and talking about is age a factor with him. And I think it was Stephen A. Smith and Max, and I think they were determining that Stephen A. Smith agreed that age was a factor and Witten's performance wasn't where it needs to be. matches on the other side of the opinion basically saying, well, his talent's there, he still has size, but Dak isn't targeting enough because he's got Des Bryant and he's got Ezekiel Elliott and a lot more.
Yeah, he's targeting Zeke more in the pass game.
Yeah,
I think
the fact of the matter is that Witten's 35, 36 years old. He's on the later part of his career, so he could retire after this year or 2 years. I don't know when his contract's up. But yeah, he is definitely one of the more inconsistent tight ends in fantasy football because he can give you 20 points a game or he can give you nothing. So,
yeah. He looked like the top tight end in the league weeks 1 and 2. He's going back to that Mr. Reliable form, and this past couple weeks he's just not been doing well.
He could have a big, good. It was a good matchup. It's a 4:00 game against Green Bay. Obviously they lost last year against Green Bay in the playoffs, so this could be a nice revenge win for him. But they can throw it all over the field. Elliott can run all over him. I don't know.
And with that suspension with Elliott still possible, maybe just hold on to Witten, even if he doesn't return this week.
Yeah, maybe they're using him more for blocking now. I don't pay attention to the Cowboys that much.
Yeah.
But, hopefully he's a security blanket for the Cowboys when it comes to receiving, in my opinion. So hopefully Dak Prescott can start relying on him anymore. But until then, he dropped a dookie on the pile. And then another dookie of mine is on your team, Brian. Someone that you traded for recently, Demaryius Thomas.
Lost me the week trading for him, too.
So he was targeted 5 times. It's okay. Not what I would expect from a wide receiver 1 on a team, but with those 5 targets, he only was able to reel in 1 reception for 11 yards.
He's had a baseline of...
And a plus matchup, I believe.
Yeah, he always gets double-digit points for me. And my thought process with trading that is I like his floor, and Pierre Garçon has a similar floor, but Brian Hoyer gets hurt all the time, and I wanted to pull the trigger before he got hurt, and then Garçon's value goes down.
Yeah.
So that was my thought process.
And Simeon's been playing well.
Yeah, and Simeon was playing really good. It was one of those, I don't know if I want to do it, but I'm going to do it anyways kind of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know. I just pulled the trigger on it. It's probably one of the worst trades I've done, especially for the 1 week results. So.
Yeah, I didn't expect that. I believed he had a very plus matchup against Oakland.
It's kind of more of a biased thing with like Dalvin Cook. I wouldn't trade him for anything in the world. I like Demaryius Thomas a lot. And
I even told you week 1 after you made that trade with Chad, I said I would have kept Hunt over Cook.
Yeah, well, if Hunt just had something you couldn't predict, but Cook, you've seen it too. He was a top 5 running back at the time.
Talent.
So it was hard to decide between the two, and I wanted that veteran running back, so I just unfortunately got rid of the wrong one.
Yeah, but
you can't predict it though. So
coming off that performance, fortunately for him, they're on a bye week this week, so hopefully he can take some time to rest, practice, get back on his feet, and hopefully get that chemistry going back.
Yeah, Sanders is the number 1 target there though right now.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I know Demaryius has struggled with drops in the past, but you know what he did, Brian? He dropped a dookie on you.
He did. Bad. Lost by 6, I believe.
Never gets old.
Yep. And now on to my dookie of the week, perhaps the...
Please let it be on Tom.
Take it off. It's actually on Chad's team.
Oh.
He was the darling of last week, generating receiving yards over 100. That was Chris Thompson. And this week against the Chiefs, he only was able to reel in 1.7 points. Now, going into that game, he was the number 2 fantasy scoring running back behind Kareem Hunt, which Chad has both. And I expect that volume to still be there, especially with Kelly being out, P. Ryan just not vibing well in that offense, fumbling like crazy. Chris Thompson's upside was through the roof. And he was only given the ball, he only touched the ball 7 times. 6 carries for 23 yards and 1 reception for 4 yards. And I believe he had a fumble as well, which is why his points were subtracted a little bit. But coming off the weeks that he had previously, I expected him to legit push RB2 status PPR-wise, and he did not do well for Chad. So
he's the 2017 version of Tevin Coleman. Doesn't get a lot of touches, but he just does stuff with it. So when he doesn't, you're great putting him in your lineup.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, as an RB2 going forward, I'm hesitant about it because after the bye week, I believe Rob Kelly's going to be back. He's had some injury issues all season. So I don't know what the workload is going to look like for Chris Thompson going forward. But if I had your team, Chad, I think I would start looking elsewhere just in case as an RB2. I don't trust Chris Thompson fully yet. But he dropped a dookie on you, Chad, so I would definitely take that into consideration.
Poop.
Love it.
So, there are my dookies for the week. There's another thing we need to talk about. A lot of injuries happened this past week, specifically Derek Carr and Marcus Mariota.
And Ty Montgomery.
Dalvin Cook.
Chris Carson.
Yeah.
Everyone got hurt.
Yeah, it was not a good week, healthy-wise.
At least your guys will come back. You guys not. They start Aaron Jones. It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's all right.
I think Derek Carr said he's expecting to miss 2 to 6 weeks. So who knows? It's kind of
He's already practicing, though.
Yeah. I expect him to at least miss this week, for
They're
sure.
going to suffer with EJ Manuel.
Yeah, I don't get that.
He could not make throws last week at all.
Connor Cook is still on the team, right?
Sure.
Yeah, I think Connor Cook should be the starter. It's just my opinion, but I don't know.
Get Matt Barkley. He's a free agent.
Yeah. And what's the latest update you've heard on Mariota?
Well, he's practicing. He's limited, but they're hopeful he can play this week. So nothing too serious. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't.
Be a smart move not to.
Yeah, I think so.
They picked up Brandon Wheat, didn't they?
Yeah. I don't get it. Apparently, they just thought that since he had exposure to offenses that they pull a lot of inspiration from, they were like, "Hey, he's probably a good fit."
Okay, I see some silver lining in there.
Yeah, but Castle's going to be the starter, so it doesn't matter. I would have rather them went back out and explored other options.
Kaepernick.
I wouldn't have minded Kaepernick, honestly.
Yeah,
but it's
same play styles.
But with that being said, it's like a 1 week thing.
Yeah.
So Whedon's not going to be on the roster next week.
Yeah.
That's just how it's going to be. That's why I think they're probably going to hold Mariota out this week because they have a really big matchup next week. Like, the game that they have to win is next week. And they play the Colts. And they're going to be playing against Andrew Luck, and that's his first game back.
Should be an easy matchup.
It's a Monday night game. It's never an easy matchup against the Colts.
Well, they got an easy win this
I think
week.
the week after that, they play the Browns?
The Browns, and then they have a bye. So
Okay.
they had a really tough first 4 games, and they went 2-2, which is better than I thought they would do.
Mm-hmm.
And the rest of their schedule is cake. I think it's 31st in terms of strength of schedule, and in terms of toughest opponents. So it's
I think the toughest matchup I can think of is on the road at Pittsburgh.
it's the Thursday night game against Pittsburgh.
Yeah. But
Everything else is like, well, the Rams look good now, but Rams, 49ers, Cardinals, Jags again, Houston. Then they got the Browns a couple weeks from now. But it's, I don't know, we'll see. Hopefully he plays, but then again, I hope they keep him out to just save him for Monday night.
yeah.
Because I think they can win on the ground. They don't need Castle to beat the Dolphins. They don't need Mariota to beat the Dolphins.
Definitely not. I think that's the bread and butter for their offense, definitely. They need to utilize Murray and Henry very effectively.
They're actually projecting Miami over Tennessee.
Yeah.
Shockingly enough. But it does say, a banged up Titans team is just what the doctor ordered in South Beach. Because the Dolphins have been relocated after Hurricane Irma, and then, they don't seem like they can get it done because Jay Cutler is still Jay Cutler. He's actually worse than what he was in Chicago. But they're paying him all that money, and then, with J.J., not getting as many points as probably should.
The Titans are just going to have the ball way too much because that Miami offense is just going to turn it
Not
over
very good.
just again and again. So,
Well, it'll be a great game for him to get back on track because the Titans' defense is
Yeah, they
horrible.
definitely need the win.
So, Tic Tac Tom,
Tic Tac Tom.
we have 3 things to look forward to. Not this week, but next season.
said the guy
Next
that was
season.
not prepared. So get out of here.
Yeah, you have any notes? No, I didn't do anything.
He's been thinking of it this whole time.
So, 3 things to look forward to. We teased it in the chat about some changes coming. Have we talked to you about this?
Yeah, you and I talked a little bit.
Okay, we haven't talked to you about it. This is the first year hearing of it.
I haven't talked to anybody about it, I don't think.
Tom and I did.
So it's just us three,
Yeah.
and then Kyle this year.
Oh, and Jordan Young.
Yeah, Jordan Young too. But you're hearing this live for the first time.
Okay.
So
Pop my chair. So.
Gross.
we have to edit that out. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll get the ice cream and put it on top. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Come on, guys.
Pop that can open.
PG-friendly podcast.
Shut up.
Unbelievable.
Edit that out.
Okay, we're
So
going to have to edit this
edit
last 5
everything.
minutes. Let's just say whatever we want for 5 minutes. We'll edit it all out.
Okay.
Okay.
Dylan, I really don't like you.
Kyle, I agree with Tom.
Brian sucks a cop.
See you in November, kid.
I got 5 minutes I can laugh if you want.
You can't say edit this out. Tom gets edited out. No one gets to make that call.
I think we brought up COD every single time.
Yep. This is that's our life, dude.
That's no
Anyway.
review? Okay.
Yeah, no review. Anyway, next season's changes, we have 3 of them. They're exciting. Okay. I think the most exciting one for me, moving forward, IDPs. Individual defensive players. We are pulling the trigger on it.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't we do that a couple years ago?
Yeah, it's been a few
I
years.
was in the league before the Creek. We actually did those.
Yeah.
It was extremely difficult to make.
It's different. So we're thinking about, as of right now, adding 6 roster spots.
Mhm.
Defensive line, linebacker, secondary. So you'll get 3 starters, one of each position group, and then 3 bench players. We're going to do a separate draft for defensive players, so you don't have to worry about taking J.J. Watt in the 9th of the actual draft.
Yeah.
But so there'll be a separate draft. How that will work in terms of order is yet to be determined. I guess it just depends. Probably we'll talk about it in the cut. We have a year until we have to make that decision. But
I think keepers wasn't exactly the most popular option among others in the league, so we're thinking
We'll keep discussing it.
every single year we're going to be like, "Hey, we're doing keepers next year."
So
but we
I
won't
think
do it.
going the IDP route first is a good step in this wind of change.
Definitely more challenging.
Yes, it'll add a new layer of complexity to this already ridiculous league.
Yep.
I like it. J.J. Watt in the forward, probably. I can see that happening.
Yeah, well, that's what we're hoping to avoid with the defensive draft, but
Yeah.
Luke Kuechly, number 2.
he will be a popular pick.
Yeah.
You brought
Probably
it up
go one
before
or
we could do
two.
a separate draft. Right after the draft, we could have it. We all have a random spot again.
Yeah,
It's not like it's going to take an hour. It's only 6 spots.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I think it's a good change. It's good.
so that's something to look forward to. Number 2 on the list of things to look forward to next season, we have decided to drop back down to half-point PPR. So we're going to try to balance things out a little bit in terms of value for skill position guys. So instead of the point that we've been doing for
I think it's been 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years
Since I got it.
Yeah, so we're going to go back to half point, which is the way that the league started out.
Yeah.
6 years ago or whatever it was. But
Too many games are won and lost off that 1 point from a negative
Yeah,
3
that's true.
yard
Yeah, when we
catch.
talked
Yeah.
about the other day, I wasn't a big fan, but watching this game on Thursday, watching guys get the ball thrown and they're 1 yard behind it, and they got it, I'm like, okay, so he would have got 0.3 or 0.4 if we do half instead of a whole point, basically.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, man, we should definitely do that.
yeah, there's
It's way more balanced.
yeah, it's especially with the way that offenses run now. It's more so in college, but like bubble screens and things like
Yeah.
that. A guy gets tackled for a -1 yard loss, and he gets 0.9 points for not doing his job right. So, there's arguments both ways, but I think half point is going to be the way to go.
It'll definitely change up, who we draft. It'll take value down in certain people like Jarvis Landry we talked about and stuff. But
Yeah.
I like it.
Thoughts, Kyle?
I absolutely agree. I've been doing this probably, 8, 9, 10 years prior to the Creek League. So,
It's so weird.
Man, you never won, have you? 8, 9 years? Jeez, man.
well, I lost to Courtney in the title game, but thanks a lot, Chris Johnson, to bring the defense and shit.
Thanks,
Are
New
Are you
Orleans.
sure you lost to Courtney?
Bum, bum.
Tom's won twice.
I've only done half-point PPR ever, so as opposed to the last couple of years.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Another
I
reason
agree
for
with
that is actually the next change we have.
Yep, actually it does. It piggybacks off another change that we're going to be making. We're going to make quarterbacks just slightly more valuable. We're going to give them the slightest of nerfs No, buffs. Sorry. Give them the slightest of buffs, and we're going to give them just like it's very marginal, but we're talking about like 0.2 extra points per passing yard. But they're going to move up into the next scoring category for passing yards. They're going to get 1 point for every 25 yards, or no, 1 point for every. That's what it is now. It's 1 point for every 20 yards.
Yeah.
So just the very slightest of bumps, but it makes quarterbacks just slightly more balanced, and it gives those top three guys just a little bit more value to kind of balance out.
It gives other people like Kirk Cousins some more value too.
Yeah.
Throw 5,000 yards, but only 20 touchdowns. So
so it's going to balance out that position a little bit more too. There's not going to be, obviously, it's not going to shift the way that everybody drafts. No one's going to take a quarterback.
Number one.
Sorry, they shouldn't take a quarterback number one overall still, but
only pay that 1 year.
Yeah, the gap between the top three guys and everybody else is going to be a lot smaller.
Yeah, I think getting 15 points for throwing 300 yards sounds more reasonable than 12 points for 300 yards. So,
yeah. And that's how we initially set up all the scoring, is that you look at the benchmark numbers for like a quote, good week. 100 yards receiving for a wide out, or a tight end, it's 100 yards rushing, it's 300 yards passing. Those are kind of like the gold standard numbers. So that's what we base it on. Nice even numbers, 15 and 10.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to change touchdowns yet because quarterbacks still they can get OP really
that
fast.
jump from 4 to 6 would be
Yeah.
I would ruin matchups too. Like say Dylan is playing Rodgers and I'm using Cobb.
Yeah.
It takes away my advantage whatsoever. So that strategy goes right out the window.
Yeah, I think 4 points for quarterbacks is good.
And that's standard across like basically every league in the world, except for on those really weird leagues where scores are 21 to 18.
Mm-hmm.
Those are kind of cool because it's more realistic. But I mean, you get a guy who scores 3 touchdowns, he only gets you like 10 points. So
yeah.
But anyway, so that's what we're looking at. In case anybody doesn't know, IDPs, they follow the same kind of scoring that defenses do. So they get like fumble recoveries, sacks, interceptions, but they also get tackles and tackles assisted. So
do they? I've never actually. I don't remember this. Do they start off with 10 points like defenses, or are they?
No, they don't.
No, they're strictly stat based. So
they don't get a whole lot of points either. So it's not going to make. So adding the defensive players in doesn't really add a superior advantage to somebody. I mean, they only get a couple points a game. I think max I've seen. Like one linebacker at one point got like 12 points.
Well, it really makes you, with IDP, you really have to focus because there'll be people like Richard Sherman who are lockdown corners. They're not going to get points.
They don't get numbers.
They just pass deflections.
But you look at a guy like Telvin Smith who just tackles everybody.
Or Talib.
Or, I don't know, Michael Bennett.
Yeah.
Those guys get numbers, and they're the ones that shift the balance. But yeah, you're looking at maybe a net of 25 extra points a game, like total from 3 guys.
But to see that on top of your score, it's like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
So
those Monday night games get a little more entertaining.
Oh yeah.
And those few extra points will kind of balance out the half point PPR for receivers and running backs and tight ends as well.
Yeah.
And the last change we're going to have is we're doing a 3 quarterback league.
3 quarterbacks, 9 wide receiver sets, and super flex for every single roster position. You can just draft whatever team you want.
Yep. Jeez. I'm doing all the backups. The 3 extra guys, the backups. It's me.
I like it.
It's bold.
It's bold. That's my bold prediction. I win next year with 3 backups.
So Keekly gets like 10 tackles, that's 10 points.
If he gets 10 whole tackles, if he gets assists, they're worth half.
Okay, that makes sense.
So,
I can't remember what interceptions are worth either.
I think they're 2. No,
I thought it was 3.
If sacks are 1, interceptions are 2.
And obviously, touchdowns are
6. So fumble recoveries are still 2. We can discuss tackles for loss. That's a popular one for D linemen, especially.
What does it say on there for that?
I can't remember. I think it's 1. Is the
you get a point for tackle for a loss.
Yeah, so you stack it if you get like the tackle for loss because and you get the tackle, so it's like 2 points. So it's almost like a stack.
I like that.
But tackles for loss are its own category.
Yeah.
So it highlights guys that are good at that.
Sacks are 1.
Are pass deflections scored?
We can use those, yeah.
Or those like half points.
We can do half point or full.
Yeah, you can probably do half point.
Yeah, I think full.
Yeah.
A little ridiculous.
That'd be like the reception thing.
Yeah.
You just tip it, you get a point.
Or we can even do quarters. I mean, they don't stop it at just half and one. You can do quarter points,
Yeah.
but we can get pretty. You can do 0.1.
We definitely all discussed
I think
that.
quarter points would
going
be good
into
for pass deflections. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, because that also counts knocking the ball out. It's not just if you swat a ball; it's if you dislodge the ball from somebody as they're trying to catch it. So
Yeah.
those can rack up really fast.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of ways to not. I feel like IDPs, they can become OP really fast
They
based
can.
on your settings.
Especially for high volume guys like
Yeah.
Keekly, who gets 10
Yeah.
tackles a game.
We'll make it work.
Oh yeah,
No, if it doesn't work, then we'll go back to.
keepers. That's what we'll do.
But yeah, I like the changes. I think it's going to be brings a new competitive edge to it, something new, and then balances out points scored offense for offensive players. So.
And you still do draft a defense. That will still,
Yeah.
that will still be a category. Just to clarify, because some people have asked me that in the past.
I like it.
All right.
Is there anything else you should cover, Kyle?
Mr. Trubisky.
Oh yeah, Kyle. How do you feel about the new rookie starter? In
So
prime
John
time?
Fox said 2 weeks ago in an interview that he was not going to start Mr. Trubisky, and then obviously they have no idea what they're doing. So
They're not moving the ball through the air at all.
yeah, they're relying on Mike Leonard way too much. So now it is time for Mr. Trubisky to make his premiere. He did struggle a little bit in the preseason. He had, I think, one solid game, I think week 3 in preseason, where it looked really, really promising. But they're going against the Vikings. Is Sam Bradford going to play? Is he ever going to be healthy? No one ever knows. But when he is healthy and he's consistent, the offense is definitely more hard.
And that was
Season
another
start.
argument in the preseason too. I don't think he's played a first team defense.
No, he was
Yeah.
third
No,
string
he
every time. He wasn't even the second quarterback off
Yeah.
the bench.
And also,
Second off.
and one tidbit too about him, he had issues with hard counts going into training camp.
Yeah,
So that could be an issue.
Did he
But
not even know what a hard count
yeah,
was?
he didn't.
he struggled with it when he was
the
that.
segments with John Gruden, he had literally.
He
no
only
clue.
had one starting season in college as well, so
Yeah, you're going against the top defense, but in the first start, if he makes multiple mistakes, it could frustrate him, and he could do really bad.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're going to rely on the running game too much to be their savior, because obviously with all the injuries the Bears have had with receivers, and then inevitably their offensive line goes down later in the season, and they just fall out inevitably. Even when they had Jay Cutler would still have great games, but then they wouldn't utilize Forte properly. Their offensive line will get injured. We've never had good blindside tackles, so the Bears always give up just a ton of sacks, and the Vikings are a great defense. So I don't know how he's going to do. I hope he does well, but my take on it is the Vikings are going to win that game, no doubt. And it's a Monday nighter. I think it's at Chicago, but Bears are going to be last in that division for sure.
well, that can transition us right into bold predictions if you guys want. And I can start.
Do it.
Bold predictions.
I'm predicting the Bears to upset Minnesota. I do see Trubisky maybe struggling a little bit, and they're going to run the ball a lot more. But I'm predicting Jordan Howard to have 150 plus,
Yeah, they're running
On the
back for different
ground.
points easily.
a couple touchdowns. I think that they're going to. The Minnesota's offense is not. I don't know how it's going to look, but I just feel the Bears are going to upset them. I have them as a 3-point favorite.
I like that. Yeah, I'll piggyback off that too. I think that people read in too much to the hard count stuff with Trubisky. Obviously, he has the arm talent, or else he wouldn't have been the number 2 pick in the draft. And before the draft, even being rumored to be number 1, as like the best quarterback in the class. But losing Dalvin Cook is going to be huge for Minnesota. That's going to be a lot to kind of overcome. It's
In 1 week.
anybody that's played sports before, when somebody goes down, it hits you in the head a little bit. It actually messes with you mentally, because if you're missing one guy, that's one less person you can rely on. And Case Keenum is not going to continue to scorch earth like he has been.
He has no dump off passes now.
Yeah,
Or
it's.
he's not.
I think Chicago pulls this out. They're going to be riding that wave of having their number 1 pick, Mitch Trubisky or Mitchell, coming off the bench, starting for the team. The only thing that worries me is if they had the wide receivers still at the beginning of the year, the Bears would be in a lot better shape.
I really like Meredith, too.
Meredith is solid. It sucked to see him go down.
They've still got, who's their tight end?
Zach Miller, too.
Yeah, I like that.
Zach Miller. Yeah, both of them. Zach Miller. The Bears tight ends, although over the years, even like Alshon Jeffrey going down and stuff like that, the Bears tight ends always been consistent from all the way back from, I think, Desmond Clark. So now any tight ends that the Bears have ever had, between Jay Cutler and any of the quarterbacks have ever had, the tight ends always go well.
Greg Olson.
Oh, we don't talk about that. But
Justin Gage.
what they probably should have done is kept Cutler, brought Trubisky in, and had Cutler shadow Trubisky, which obviously on paper doesn't sound smart because Cutler's awful, but at the same time, he needs that veteran presence because Glennon isn't the kind of guy to go in there and tell Mitch, hey, this is what's right and wrong, because Mike Glennon has no idea what he's doing anyway. And he's overthrowing receivers like he was in Tampa Bay. He doesn't look good. I like Mitch's, he has a lot of promise, but I don't know if the Bears, because they're still in rebuild mode, especially with that defense.
Yeah. Their defensive line is actually very good.
It's sneakily good.
Yeah.
Especially against the Titans in preseason.
The way they look, they could have been 4-0 right now.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, but I don't know. It puts it, even if they do suck the rest of the year, it puts them in position to
get a better draft pick
to get some better draft picks. Try to reload a little bit after giving up every single thing they own to get Trubisky. It puts them in a better spot. But maybe somebody can explain this to me. But I've never been a huge fan of signing backup quarterbacks to massive contracts.
No.
Everybody remember Matt Flynn?
Yeah.
Or Brock Osweiler.
That's ridiculous. It never works. Like if he's not good in one place, what makes you think just bring him into a new situation is going to automatically make him the guy?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they didn't decide to take Trubisky till that night.
That's what it felt like.
They were actually originally projected that they were going for a defensive tackle or a safety. That's what they were.
I thought they were going to take Jamal Adams.
Yeah, that's who I thought too. But that division itself, I mean, the Lions are 3-1. Again, they've been one of those teams the last couple of years where they can get to the wild card as long as the Packers, the Packers can struggle with injuries towards the later part of the season, especially on defense. Like if Matthews goes down, or their safeties don't look very good. The Lions could be a promising team towards the end part of the year.
Their defense is very good.
Yeah, if they continue this,
they have a very hard hitting defense for sure.
Yeah.
Another thing too with the Bears, Trubisky can run, he can scramble. So I think he brings that.
But he's scrambling quarterbacks don't really last that long in the NFL.
Well, he seems like a smart guy. He's probably going to get down. He's not going to pull up Tony Romo.
That's something Glennon can definitely not do.
Yeah.
And so maybe that'll benefit for their factor.
I hope he does well.
It'll be all right. I mean,
I wouldn't be surprised if the Bears won.
Yeah.
The one that doesn't predict the Bears to win is the Bears fan.
Well, sometimes that's the case.
The Vikings are so uncertain at times to predict how they're going to do week by week, especially with injuries and stuff. And the Bears, historically, for me, have been easy to predict because I was predicting to lose. And when they win, I'm always shocked because they should have won.
If the Bears would have had that one final play in the end zone against Atlanta, everyone would be viewing them differently.
When they beat Pittsburgh,
they looked good.
Yeah, I remember I texted you or Tom about whenever they beat Pittsburgh and Jordan Howard went for that run. Now, it did look like a hole. Now, at the very end when Jordan Howard ran in.
They're just holding every play.
I know, but when they beat Pittsburgh, I kind of thought, okay, Bears kind of a real deal for now. I just really wanted to start with Trubisky week one. I know why they went with Glennon, but I don't know. The offensive coordinator seems to like Glennon a lot. They did really well in training camp, but
it's just the unknown factor. They know they're going to get from Glennon. So
now let's say that Trubisky comes out and absolutely balls out. That pick is actually looking genius now.
Yeah.
Glennon couldn't get it done, and Trubisky comes in and lights it up.
They have some good weapons in there.
And they're
Howard,
back,
Cohen, and Miller.
And if he doesn't do well, we still have Mark Sanchez.
There's always that.
He's going to butt fumble. Jordan Howard's going to pick it up. And he's going to score.
That's fine.
I probably would have even went with Sanchez over Glennon, to be honest. But
I've never been a Mike Glennon guy.
Try looking at the depth chart in May or June, and you're like, okay, I got Mike Glennon, Mr. Trubisky, and Mark Sanchez. So the Bears definitely, from the start, are
I'll
going to be a trouble
tuning
team.
into that game. I want to see how he does.
Yeah. I probably won't watch it.
All right. My bold prediction is another division winner for this season. I think with the way their defense has been playing, I think the Bills are going to win that.
Whoa.
That was almost my prediction.
I think they're going to do it. Tyrod's playing good. Very under the radar. No one's taking any recognition to it. He doesn't turn the ball over.
No, never.
He knows when to get down, knows when to make throws, knows when to scramble when he needs to.
Beating Atlanta on the road last week was huge, too.
Yeah.
It all comes down to McCoy being healthy.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
And emergence of Charles Clay. That defense is playing really good. They've always had one of the better D-lines in the league. The rookie, Tre'Davious White, has been probably the best rookie corner so far this season. And the corner they traded for from the Rams, EJ Gaines, I think.
Yeah.
He's actually been playing pretty well, so they've got a good foundation to go off of. And we've all seen how the Patriots have been struggling
They
this season.
could have 0 wins right now.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
Buffalo's defense is good enough to stop that entire division, so I would not be surprised if Buffalo actually won the division this year.
Yeah, coming into the season, everyone thought they were rebuilding. It's crazy to see right now.
So yeah, that's my bold prediction for the year.
I like
If they don't win the division, I think they're definitely going to make the playoffs. 'Cause
Very close.
I looked at their schedule earlier this morning, and they have a pretty easy slate the rest of the year.
Look at that. I like it, man.
So Bears and Bills Super Bowl.
Could happen.
Call it now.
First time ever.
How crazy.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad at all.
Any more bold predictions that we can think of?
I'm done making bullshit.
The only thing I think Jay Cutler is going to have a couple touchdowns. Not a very good game, but I think he's going to get a couple touchdowns. Double his touchdown this year. Yeah, that's not really too bold.
Yeah.
The Titans looked bad last weekend. We'll see.
It was ugly. Thanks for coming.
Thanks,
you for
Kyle.
having me.
Should come on future episodes.
Will do. I think the 2 games, though, to watch out for the week, probably going to be the Green Bay Dallas game. It's going to be a high-scoring game, and then the Kansas City.
Yeah, that's
Since everyone's on the
Kansas City.
Deshaun Watson bandwagon right now, he's just on a roll right now.
I think he's going to get it done. He's not going to produce fantasy-wise. Like, he's going to have a decent 4, but I think they're going to pull it out.
Are you regretting that move to the Vikings bandwagon now?
No. Well, it's because I love Dalvin. I've been watching the Vikings.
What if Dalvin got traded to Houston next year?
Houston would beat everyone.
Yeah, I love Dalvin Cook. He was one of the few guys I watched in college, but just the way the defense plays, I've liked him the last few years. And
Yeah, that game's going to be super exciting. Drake Watson, Kareem Hunt is just on a tear every single game.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty much whoever's doing good that week. It's on my fantasy team. I'm like,
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah, points favorites right now. Cowboys are projected to win, which is kind of surprising. But
I don't.
I don't.
Green Bay has had 10 days of rest, and they have historically destroyed Dallas, even when they had
Even with Adams out, Cobb's looking better than he did.
He's got plenty
And he
of
played last year.
Aaron Rodgers is top 3 quarterbacks for a reason.
And they won last year with no running backs. Aaron Jones is much better than the people they're using. Ty Montgomery did do well, but I think this is it.
But to Josh's point last week, I mean, Montgomery, how long is he going to last as being a running back?
Josh just pulled that one out of his butt. That shouldn't, it's a couple broken ribs. I mean,
I think they need
that
to
could happen.
He's
Hopefully
very
they can get
notorious for predicting injuries.
Yeah.
He's good at it.
He loves.
But they need to look forward ahead in the next couple of years and definitely get a solid running back coming out of college to help them out.
Nick Chubb.
Saquon Barkley.
Throw that G right back.
Akram Wadley.
Akram Wadley, man. He's very good.
We'll have to do a college show eventually.
Yeah, we should. When it gets around to playoff time or Heisman time.
Yeah, whenever Michigan loses to Ohio State.
Yeah, I think that would be the best time to do it.
So I was thinking maybe next week we could have a reevaluation of our playoff seedings. If you guys wanted to predict those, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we won't, guys. Stay tuned.
You guys should have Devin on.
Well, we've got somebody lined up for next week,
Yeah,
which
well,
brings us to our...
We need some diversification.
Final announcement.
He's not going to be happy when he comes on the show.
Little
That's
thing
for
it's
sure.
called
Yeah.
plugs.
Well, who knows? He might be the most happy person in the world.
I sure hope so.
I really hope so, too. But, we've got him scheduled next Thursday, I believe. So, the next person will be up after that. Don't know who it is yet, but you'll hear from us.
James Jackson, surprise guest.
Damn it, Kyle!
So who's the special guest next week?
We'll tell you.
No, that gives no people any reason to come back.
So
Well, you take away the three of us. You take away Kyle,
yeah, was that
which is whatever. You take away Chad because he was on the show, right?
Yeah, Chad's been on the show.
Josh was on the show.
Chad's
So you only
busy
have
with
half the
Yeah,
the-
who hasn't been on the show?
Who
Narrow
won't
it down.
show? Who would come and who would?
Who's in Mexico? Chris.
I think I got it figured out.
was it Rydon?
Yeah.
Who's a cop and who's not? Oh wait, did I give it away?
That's
No,
actually
I
pretty
know-
good. I like that.
I know Dan has expressed interest in coming on the show too. I think
Dan for press.
we could look at him in the following weeks.
Yep.
sometime.
I've already talked to him.
All right, cool.
That'd be a good one.
I like it. All right, I think that'll wrap it up here, boys. Thank you for listening, all four of you.
Yep. All four people in this room.
So yeah, just tune in for the next couple weeks, and we're gonna have some more special guests. And with that being said, hit that like button.
Subscribe. Make sure you click the little bell for the alerts to make sure that when Tom posts the videos, you'll automatically get a notification on your phone.
Keep the comments clean. That guy.
We should find another co-host.
Oh my god. He's just taking over. Before the show, he was even going to tell us how
So,
to run this.
He told us how we run our show.
It's
When he
ridiculous.
got-
Yeah, just trying to give you guys some suggestions. I'll be your manager. Maybe.
That's fun. We're not going to pay you. Maybe in like snack packs or
He's just
something.
sitting there with his
I
glasses.
know Brian has snacks in there, so
I really don't. It's pretty much kale, spinach, and nuts. So
Well,
My name's Lance, and I like nuts.
great. Another thing I have to edit out.
that's not too bad.
That's what we're talking about. I'm sorry. That's it.
Okay.
Wrap it up, Dylan.
All
so make sure you like,
Always.
subscribe, hit the like button, subscribe. I love you.
It's
All right. Yeah.
all right. I probably didn't pick it up.
All right.
So,
Yeah. Thanks for listening, guys. We have to end it right now. This is getting out of hand.
Yeah. All right. Bye. We're
See ya.
idiots.